Good afternoon, everyone. Today I'm going to present a journal, and the topic is Consumer Behavior and Support Services, an examination of fitness-centric loyalty. And here is the information about the authors. I'm my advisors, and I'm presenter. First, I'll go through the outline. In the first part is introduction, and also the author provides a theoretical background and hypothesis and theoretical model. And then they talk about the methods and of course the results and discussion. And in the introduction part, there is a growing fitness industry in the world. The number is really surprising. It is more than 5 million practitioners and expenditures of $2 million. And of course, what caused this phenomenon is because the growth of number of facilities and greater growth in the membership of fitness centers. Because there's a lot of people exercising in the world, so they go to the fitness center. However, if there are so many fitness centers, people can choose, right? So there's a problem with loyalty of fitness center client. And some research indicate that the factor may be the service convenience with satisfaction and future intentions, of course the quality and satisfactions. And there's insufficient study to examine the many different factors of client perceptions and its repercussions on loyalty even in countries. And in the theoretical background, there is a relationship between perceived quality, perceived value, and satisfaction. And there's many researchers define the perceived quality. The first one view the perceived quality as the outcome of an evaluation process of customers' expectation with the service they perceive to have received. And the second research thought perceived quality as the view of the consumer on the excellence or the superiorities of the products or service. And the third research is view the perceived quality as the customer's overall impressions about service performance, service delivery systems, and overall consumption experiences. And the next research indicates that the perceived quality is the overall assessment of products based on the perceptions of what it receives and what it gives in return. And that research also revealed that the perceived quality is the positive function of what the client received and the negative function of what the client sacrificed. And also, there is a positive direct and significant relationship between variable among sporting events. And here is the here is the variables. First is perceived quality, perceived value, and the public sport facility, and also general sport organization, professional teams, and of course the client's perceptions. And the next part is the relationship between perceived value, satisfaction, and client loyalty. And some research also indicate that there is a positive, direct, and significant relationship of perceived value and customer satisfaction. Also, a direct relationship among perceived value, customers' loyalty, and behavioral intentions. And also, they have a direct relationship between satisfaction and behavioral intention. You may notice that most of studies conducted with only two or three variables. So here's the purpose of the study. The purpose of study is going to examine the relationship between perceived quality, perceived value, and satisfaction with future intention of clients in fitness centers in Spain. You can see that in this study, the researchers use the four variables. So here's the hypothesis of the research. First hypothesis is going to examine the relationship between perceived qualities and perceived value. And the second hypothesis is going to examine the perceived quality to satisfaction. And the third hypothesis is going to reveal the relationship between perceived value and satisfaction. And the fourth hypothesis is going to talk going to discuss the perceived value and future intention. And the fifth hypothesis is going to explore the relationship between satisfaction and the future intentions. And here's the method part. The first part is the participant. There were 1,805 participants in this study, and 993 male, and also 812 is females, and the age is not. There is the age is not. There is 127 under 20 years old, and 796 is on between 21 and 14 years old, and 369 is between 41 and 60 years old, and 513 is above 16 years old. And in the educational level, there were 527 for elementary or primary level, and 323 is for secondary or high school, and 337 is for professional preparation, and 618 is for university, master or doctorate. And occupation means their work, their job. And there were 258 for students, 140 for professionals, and 352 for employees, and 77 for self-employed, and 255 unemployed, and also 732 for other categories. And the last part was longevity. Longevity means the period they join the 15th century. And there is 974 less than a years, and 311 for 1 to 2 years, and 203 for 2 to 3 years, and 317 is more than 3 years. And the instrument is the questionnaire, and this questionnaire is a demographic questions, and it contains 31 items and 2 sections. And the first section is include 50 items for perceived quality through 3 dimensions, 4 items for evaluating quality in general. And the second section is measuring perceived value, satisfaction, and future intentions, and each one with 4 items. And it is a 9-point Likert scale. It means that there is a 0.1 for complete disagree, 2.9 for completely agree. And here's the data collection procedure. First of all, the researcher will contact the century and offer 2 meetings with the managers, and then they hold a 3 meeting to explain the objectives and the methodologies of the study. And then one of the surveyors collect the data in the morning and another in the afternoon. It means that there is only two periods of time they collect the data. And the last part, they will ask the participant to complete the survey in 10 to 15 minutes. And here's the data analysis. And it is separated into 2 stages. The first stage is they use the statistical software SPSS and MOS for statistical analysis, and also exploratory factors analysis for factorial structure, and complementary factor analysis tool for confirming the measurement model, and the composite reliability considering adequate value higher than 0.70, and the average variance extracted for internal validity and value higher than 0.50. And in the second stage, the structural equation model for proving the research hypothesis, and statistical significance p larger than 0.05, and chi-squared, and the index grade, and those index are greater than 0.90, and the RMSEA index with the value inferior to 0.6 0.06 and acceptable with the value inferior to 0.08. In the result, the first of we can see the measure model. In this table, we can see these two columns. In the CR column, you can see that the score is from 0.88 to 0.95. It means the reliability is really high. And in the average variance extracted in this column, you can see that the number is from 0.60 to 0.84. It means that the convergent validity is higher than 0.50. It contains a higher validity. So this table tells us the reliability and validity is high. And there is a descriptive statistics and correlation between constructs. In the table 2, we can see that there is the factors, and it is the abbreviation for factors. For example, F is facility, E is employees, P for programs, GQ for general quality, V for value, and S for satisfaction, FI for future intention. In the table 2, we can see that the program was the most valued dimension because the mean is really high. It's the highest. You can see that the mean score in program was 8.26. And however, on the other hand, the facility received the lowest score, that is the 7.19. It means that most of the factor received a high score except for the facilities. And in this structural model, we can see in the figure 2, we can see there is the three dimension facilities, employees, and programs. You can see that there is a relationship between them. For example, the facility is relative to employees because the score is 0.51, and the employee is 0.72. The score between the employees and program was 0.72, and that means that the three dimension are relative. And also the three dimension is relative to the general qualities. You can see the number is 0.33, 0.15, 0.44. And of course, the general quality also relative to satisfaction and value because they also have a 0.68 for value, 0.55 for satisfaction. And the value was relative to satisfaction and future intention. Even though the number wasn't that high, but it means they have a relation. They have a relationship between each other. And the last part, the satisfaction was relative to the future intention. You can see that the number was really high. It's 0.86. That means all the all the factors was relative to each other. And here's the discussion. First of all, the research indicates that the perceiving programs and employees positively, and but having a lower perception of facilities. That may be the lack of the investment in the design of the space. And also, there is a positive relationship between perceived quality and perceived value. And some researchers have also indicated that a similar outcome. And of course, there is a positive value for optimal quality of sport activity or equipment. And some research also indicate the same results. And then they reveal the relationship between value and satisfaction. That those researchers also conducted some research to support the outcomes. And also the result shows that there is a positive relationship between perceived value and future intention or loyalty. and of course it is being indicated by our research. In the discussion part, the first part is implication. We can see that the positive quality perceptions cause the perceived value and satisfaction, and it causes the loyal client. It means the loyalty of a client. So the loyalty may depend on their perception of quality, value, and satisfaction. And of course, loyalty is the decisive factor such as employees and the programs. And also it is influenced influence elements such as clean care, the attractiveness of facilities, and good conditions of equipment and the environment. And here is a conclusion, limitation, and future research. The first part is conclusion. The research indicates that there is a positive relationship between perceived quality, perceived value, and satisfaction with future intention. Also, perceived quality influences perceived value and customer satisfaction in fitness centuries. And the perceived value positive influence and satisfaction, and both variables are in the client's future intention or loyalty. And in the limitations, the first limitation is the convenience limitation for fitness century participation. Because not all of the fitness center will accept the invitation, or they want to be included in the research. And so there's another limitation is the transversal study of quantitative nature. And of course, analyzing loyalty with measure of subjective behavior not represent customer loyalty. It means that the are not behavior is not equal to customer loyalty. So here's for a suggestion for the future research. First, it can include the fitness center association or federation. It means the sample can be larger. And of course, it can use the longitudinal design and quantitative methodology. It means the quantitative. It can be a quantitative and qualitative research. And here's my presentation. Thanks for listening.